Shabbat Shalom, everyone. The news of this week has not been particularly good. There's a rise in coronavirus, and there's confusion if the kids should go to school or not. So let's put that aside. Let's have a sacred day, Shabbat, a day of rest, a day where we let the everyday world go by. And as Rabbi Warren Stone of Temple Emmanuel used to say, let's let the week pass as we enter the garden of Shabbat. So I welcome you, and I also welcome the ministering angels. I also welcome Joan Wolf, who will be chanting Shalom Aleichem with us. So please turn to page 84 and join Joan.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We will continue on page 38. Source of mercy, continue your loving care for us and our loved ones. Give us strength to walk in your presence on the paths of the righteous, loyal to your Torah, steadfast in goodness. Keep us far from all shame, grief, and anguish. Fill our homes with peace, light, and joy. O God, fountain of life, by your light shall we see light. And we'll now do a candlelighting ceremony.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
May we be blessed with Shabbat joy. Amen. May we be blessed with Shabbat peace. Amen. May we be blessed with Shabbat light. Amen. We'll continue on page 39 for welcoming the Shabbos. It's usually done responsively, but read it along with me. Come, let us sing to the Eternal One. Let our song ring out to our sheltering rock. Let us come before God with thanksgiving, our voices loud with song. For great are you, Eternal One, high above the gods that are worshipped. In your hands are the depths of the earth. Yours are the mountain peaks. You made the sea. It is yours. The dry land is the work of your hands. You are our God and our shepherd. We are your people and your flock. If only today we would listen to your voice. Let us continue on page 46, where we welcome the Shabbos bride. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem tiferet v'lid hilah, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela, likrat Shabbat lechuvan ilcha. Ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof maaseh b'makshavat techila, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela, hitoreri, hitoreri. Kiva ore kumi ori, uri, shedaberi. Kavod Adonai alayich nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela. And if you wish, you can stand. If it's easy for you, it's okay. And you could also remain seated as you face the door and welcome the Shabbat bride coming in all her refinery as we chant. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Let's turn to page 48 and recite Psalm 93 together. The Eternal One is enthroned, robed in grandeur. The Eternal One is robed, girded with strength, the one who founded the solid earth to be unmoving. Ageless is your throne, endless your being. The oceans cry out, eternal God. The oceans cry out their thunder. The oceans rage in their fury. But greater than the thunder of the torrents, mightier than the breakers of the sea, is the majesty of God on high. Your law stands firm, and in your temple, O eternal God, holiness abides to the end of time. And we will now do our separator prayer that will distinguish the Kabbalat Shabbat section from our service from the Mariv section proper. Page 49. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divra chirutei, v'yamelich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, u'chayei lechol beit Yisrael, bagala, uv'izman kahariv, v'yemeru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam ulol me'almaya, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpoar, v'yitroma, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitalev, v'yithalal, shmei dekudisha, b'richu le'la, min kol b'chata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiron bi'alma, v'yemeru, Amen. Please rise for the Baruch Hu on page 50, but if it is easier for you to remain seated, that is perfectly all right. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamivorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam evoed. Let's read the English together on the bottom of page 50 to the top of page 51. We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening. With wisdom you open heaven's gates, and with understanding you make the ages pass and the seasons alternate. Your will controls the stars as they travel through the skies. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. You cause the day to pass and bring on the night, separating day from night. You command the hosts of heaven. May the living and eternal God rule us always to the end of time. We praise you, O God, whose word makes evening fall. Please join us for the revelation, Ahavat Olam, on page 51.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה.
הבטחה תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו, לעולם ועד. Please be seated for the Ve'ahavta on page 52. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom halevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha v'lechtecha b'derech v'shach b'kov kumecha Ukshartam liot hayodecha v'hayuletotafot beinenecha uchtavtam amizuzobetecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim l'Elohechem ahani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti ethem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem l'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. Let's read the redemption section together on page 53. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone are God, there is none else, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign. You deliver us from the hand of oppressors and save us from the fist of tyrants. You did wonders without number, marvels that pass our understanding. You gave us our life. By your help we survive all who seek our destruction. You did wonders for us in the land of Egypt, miracles and marvels in the land of Pharaoh. You led your people Israel out forever to serve you in freedom. When your children witnessed your power, they extolled you and gave you thanks. Willingly they enthroned you, and full of joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang this song.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot, ose fele, malechutecha ra'u banecha, Boke ayam lifne Moshe, ze Eli anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed.
V'nem marki fada Adonai et Yaakov, v'galo miyad chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai, Goal Yisrael. We will do our evening prayer, Hashkivenu. I will chant the first line or so, and we'll have somebody do a reading. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
Grant that we may lie down in peace, eternal God, and raise us up, O sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel and your namesake. Be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil, O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign. Give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that now and always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
We will continue with Vishamru on page 55. Please join me. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael od hi leolam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam, ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et ha-shemayim ve'et ha'aretz vishamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat la'asod, et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. V'bayom ha'shvi'i Shabbat vayinofash, Shabbat vayinofash, Shabbat vayinofash vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. And now we're ready for tefillah. The Atzilus, the nearness to God according to the Kabbalists. So if you wish, please rise and imagine yourself in a garden or a courtyard or wherever you can imagine yourself having an audience with the highest judge of all. Page 56. Adonai sivotai tiftahu fi yagid tehilotecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rochel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Pikonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahod, Mevi Gulal Livnei B'neihem, Lamad Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozeru Moshiach Mogain, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham v'Ezrat Sarah. That is the first of our 7 benedictions. We will continue on page 57 with God's power, Gevurot. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav l'Hoshia, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechaye hakol b'rachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech v'mid, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nemanat alachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Our third benediction is on page 58. It's the holiness of God. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, kadosh b'chol yom yehalalucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Let's read the English together. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who strive to be holy declare your glory day by day. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God. Please be seated. Our fourth benediction is the holiness of Shabbat itself. Let's read together the bottom of page 59 to the top of page 60. Our God, God of our fathers and our mothers, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our way of life. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, eternal God, let your holy Sabbath remain our heritage, that all Israel, hallowing your name, may find rest and peace. We praise you, O God, for the Sabbath and its holiness. And now we will hear worship avodah.
Adonai Eloheinu ותקבל ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל.
Fill us with the knowledge that you are near to all who seek you in truth. Let your eyes behold your presence in our midst and in the midst of our people in Zion. We praise you, O God, whose presence gives life to Zion and to Israel. That is our fifth benediction. Our sixth benediction is a prayer of thanksgiving. And Joan will chant it for you.
מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני, שאתה הוא אדוני, אלוהינו, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו. לעולם, לעולם ועד, צור חיינו, מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תחילתך על חיינו המסורים בידיך. חיינו המסורים בידיך. נשמותינו פיקודות לך. לא חלו רחמך, לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך. מעולם קיווינו לך.
Our seventh and final benediction is a prayer for peace. Please join me on page 63. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'onecha livarech et Amcha Yisrael v'chol edu v'chol shah v'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Let's read in silent devotion from the bottom of page 63 to the top of page 64. O say shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emeru amen. O say shalom bimromav, the one who makes peace from his high place. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, he will make peace upon us. Ve'al kol Yisrael, and over Jews everywhere. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, and over all who dwell on this earth. And we affirm by saying, Amen. And now a prayer for our country.
Sovereign of the universe, mercifully receive our prayer for our land and its government. Let your blessing pour out on this land and on all officials of this country who are occupied in good faith with the public needs. Instruct them from your Torah's laws. Enable them to understand your principles of justice so that peace and tranquility, happiness and freedom might never turn away from our land. Please waken your spirit in all inhabitants of our land and plant among the peoples of different nationalities and faiths who dwell here love, brotherhood, and peace. Amen.
And now for a taste of Torah. And I'm reading from this week's Torah portion, Vayishlach. Vayishlach Yaakov melachim lifanav. And Jacob sent messengers before him, El Esav Achicha, to Esau his brother, Arza Seir, Sode Edom, towards the land of Seir in the field of Edom. Vayetzavotam lemor, and he commanded them, saying, this is Jacob commanding his servants, Ko temorun la'adoni la'esav. Thus you will say to my lord, to Esau, Ko mar abdecha Yaakov, thus says your servant Jacob, Im Lavan garti v'achar ad atah. With Laban I have dwelled, and after that until now. Vayhili shor v'chamor son v'eved v'shevcha, and I have amassed oxen and asses, sheep, and male servants and female servants. Va'eshlecha l'hagil adoni limtso chen ba'anecha, and I have sent to tell to my Lord, if I find favor in your eyes. So that's the message that they are to carry to Esau. Vayashvu hamalachim el Yaakov lemor, and the servants returned to Jacob, saying, Banu el achicha el Esav, we came to your brother, to Esau. V'gam holech likratecha, and Also, he is coming to confront you, or to greet you if we want to warm it up. And there are 400 men with him. No wonder Jacob is afraid. And now my Devar Torah. This week's Torah portion is called Vayishlach, Hebrew for "and he sent." This refers to Jacob sending messengers to see if Esau will be hospitable or not, as he is about to encounter his twin brother for the first time in 20 years. It was Esau who threatened to kill Jacob for stealing the father's blessing, which is why Rebekah, their mother, sent Jacob back to her family in Haran. It is time for Jacob to return home with his family and his belongings, including all of his cattle and livestock. These are the things he took from his father-in-law. The Torah portion has plenty of plot points. Let me just give you a brief oversight. So we have an encounter between Jacob and his twin brother that could have gone lethal. Jacob is renamed Israel twice. There's the violation of Jacob's daughter by a local prince. Revenge against the town by two of Jacob's sons because of the dishonoring of their sister. The death in childbirth of Rebekah, Jacob's favorite wife. The death of Jacob's father Isaac. And Jacob's firstborn son, Reuben, having his way with one of his father's concubines. Potential war, devastation, sex, violence, revenge, 2 deaths, all in one Torah portion. What I want to focus on is the part that I think is the most interesting of this Torah portion, and that's the renaming of Jacob. After all, he was named Jacob, Yaakov, because he grabbed the Akev, the heel of his older twin brother Esau, who had already emerged from the womb. And the name Yaakov got to mean not only heel grabber, but trickster. In this Torah portion, he wrestles with a man, and he's renamed Israel. Here's what the Torah says, and this is my very literal translation. And Jacob remained alone, and a man wrestled with him until the morning. Now, often you'll hear this, and an angel wrestled with him, but the Torah says, Ish, a man. And the man saw that he had not prevailed against Jacob, and he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was strained when he wrestled with him. And the man said, "Let me go, because the morning is rising." And Jacob said, "I will not let you go until you bless me." And this man said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." And the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, Yisrael, because you strove with Elohim and with men, and you prevailed." And Jacob asked, and he said, "Tell me, please, your name." And he said, "Why do you ask me my name?" And he blessed him. That's the end of that section. Jacob asked for the man's name, and the man doesn't give it to him. There are things that I want to point out. Again, the Torah doesn't say an angel wrestled with him. And exegetes have said that the man who wrestled with Jacob could have been Esau himself, or even Jacob's conscience. Either way, he gets a new name, Yisrael, which is certainly better than trickster. After all, Yisrael can mean strove with God, or even the Prince of God. Jacob asks the man his name, and the man doesn't answer, but he gives Jacob a blessing. He enters the scene as Yaakov, and he leaves as Yisrael, which we can accept that he is now on a higher spiritual plane, and why the Hebrews became known as Bnei Israel, Bnei Yisrael, children of Israel. There are any number of ways we can understand this passage, but what I would like to propose is taking a look at it homiletically. Have there been times in your life when you have struggled, wrestled as it were, with problems at work, in the family, in the community, or even with your own health? But as you worked through these problems, you came through with a better understanding of yourself and your situation than you had before. Did that happen? Maybe you didn't get a new name as Jacob did, but perhaps you came through it with a new sense of identity. You are a survivor. I could tell you horror stories of awful and corrupt bosses or health crises, and my bet is you could match me or even top mine. But instead of being stuck in the image that we are victims, we could lift our heads and say, we made it through it. We did the struggle and we survived. We are survivors. By the way, there's a second renaming in the story, in the same Torah portion. This time it's God who names Jacob as Israel. And there's no wrestling. But there is the text of the blessing. Jacob's descendants would be many, including lines of kings, and they will have a homeland. The choice is ours. We can think of ourselves as Yaakov, the heel grabber, the trickster, or accept that we are Israel because we strove and we prevailed. That works for me, and I hope it works for you. Shabbat Shalom. At this time, we remember those whom we feel could benefit from a healing prayer, whether for physical, spiritual, psychological, or emotional healing, whether at home or in a hospital or in hospice. So at this time, please say the name or names of those people you feel could benefit from a healing prayer, and I will be here in silence. Misha berach avoteinu, Abraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Misha berach imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rochel. May the one who blessed our fathers, may the one who blessed our mothers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. And now I will bless the congregation. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panai b'lecha v'chuneka. May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yisem lecha shalom. May God show you great compassion, love, and mercy, and give you the greatest gift of all, the gift of peace. And we affirm by saying, Amen. We will continue on page 148 for the Aleinu. Olenu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo osanu kigoye haratzod, velo samanu kamishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kohem, vigar aleinu kechol hamonam, le'anachnu korim, umishtachavim, umodim, Livnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. We'll continue on page 149. V'ne'emar, v'hayo Adonai, l'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. And if you are standing, please be seated. And now announcements from our president, Dr. Stephen Parmesan.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for sharing this post-Thanksgiving service with us. And thank you certainly to Rabbi Levin for leading our service and for being a leader of our community. Thanksgiving is traditionally a time when we look back, and truly, even given what's going on around us, we're here, we're able to share, and that in itself is something for us to give Thanksgiving for. And looking at our future, we have a very full calendar for this month. Monday, the 7th of December, very special day for me, or the day I met my wife. Rabbi Stan Levin has produced a event called on the first day of Christmas. And Rabbi, I know we can't see you, you're behind the camera, but could you tell us a bit about this and how we might join?
Steve, thanks for the plug for On the First Day of Christmas. I'm not the producer, I'm merely the director. It's a very funny comedy. We're doing it actually as a reading, but it's going to be on Zoom, so everybody will be safe, the actors and the audience. By the way, it's free. Just send an email to bestmedicinerep@gmail.com, and I'm going to put that on the screen for you, bestmedicinerep@gmail.com. The show is at 7 o'clock on Monday. Please join us. I think you'll enjoy it. And back to Steve.
Then on Friday, December 11th, again, we have a very special extra service, an introduction to Hanukkah, a service led by Rabbi Stan Levin, again, thank you, with Cantorial Soloist Joan Wolf. And this service is going to focus on the music and history of Hanukkah and lead us right into the following Friday's service on December 18th, led by Rabbi Peter Novak with cantor Karen Dale, which is or will be our traditional Hanukkah service. But the month's not over. But on Tuesday, December 29th, cantor Karen Dale is going to lead a special New Year's Eve celebration. And this will be at 8 p.m. on Zoom. I'll hold this up. This is a flyer. And you will be receiving in the mail, of course, our traditional e-bites and a little bit more about each of the services. So a moment of thanksgiving and a moment to look forward. And I certainly look forward not only to the special events of this month, but to 2021, which I hope will be a year that strengthens our community. Hevrat Shalom. Good Shabbos.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, let us meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Yahrzeits for the month of December are Jacob Barr, Nettie Bernbach, a member, Helen Berger, mother of Elaine Moses, Ruth Chernick, mother of Michael Chernick, Samuel Chernick, father of Michael Chernick, Rose Dichter, mother of Irene Shapiro, Maurice Dooney, a member and husband of the late Sonia Dooney, Anna Fox, mother of Florence Lang, Lawrence Friedman, father of Steve Friedman, Morris Hine, father of Joe Hine, Herman Kravitz, husband of Mimi Goldstein, H. Shirley Levine, wife of Rabbi Levine, Adele Meltzer, mother of Arnold Meltzer, Norman Nissenson, mother-in-law of Rabbi Saltzman, Saul Olin, father of Erwin Olin, Abe Parsant, father-in-law of Minna Parsant, Abraham Pollock, father of Mary Ann Dubner, Abraham Sowelson, father of Beth Zemet, Barbara Schaefer, wife of Irv Schaefer, Isidore Skolnick, father of Estelle Hine, Rebecca Temin, mother of Adele Lerman, Janet Werner, wife of Sid Werner, Max Walk, father-in-law of Sandra Walk, Morris Zaritsky, father of Irving Zaritsky. If there are others I have not named, if you're in the first 7 days, the Shiva period, or the Shloshim, the first 30 days, or even the first year, if you're so inclined, please mention the names that I did not, and I will be quiet to allow you that opportunity. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We will continue with the Mourner's Kaddish on page 154. Please rise if you are so inclined. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yamechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'yizman kariv v'meru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam ul'olmei olmaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudisha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiron b'yoma v'meru Amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru Amen. Osei shalom v'meromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Yimaru. Amen. We'll conclude our service with Adon Olam on page 156.
Adon Olam asher malach beterem kol yitzir nivra le'ed nasa וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו אפקיד רוחי בעת תישן ואירה ואם רוחי גווייתי אדוני לי ולא אירה.
And now for a little Kiddush. Please join me if you have some wine or grape juice. I have grape juice and a little piece of bread. And by the way, after the service tonight, please hang on. We're going to have a group oneg where we can sit back and talk and share and spend some quality time together. Are you ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzovanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yavav ratzon enchilanu, zikaron l'maseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikrei kodesh, zecher l'tziyat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'chata, v'yotanu kidashta, v'kol hamim, v'shabbat kadshecha, v'yahava v'ratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Good Kedem grape juice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon. Shabbat shalom, everyone. And if you can, just because the video is over doesn't mean we're over. So please hang on if you're watching this on Friday night. Thank you.